Hello, Dr. Weiner. I don't really have a question. It's just more of a general question, I guess. I was wondering if you could possibly include duodenal switches in your education. Um, I've had one done back in 2017, and I've lost all of my excess body weight. I was 292, and I currently weigh 134. And I personally find that there isn't a lot of education specifically focused towards duodenal switches, and a lot of us who have had them are still guessing. We get education plans that are geared towards gastric bypasses, and from what I understand, the research that I have done is they are obviously two vastly different surgeries. And I just feel it would be very beneficial to a lot of us who have had a traditional duodenal switch to have somebody just talking more about it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so this person's had a duodenal switch and is asking for some more information about it. And I think the first thing that I would say is I don't perform that surgery. It's about 1% of all bariatric procedures that are done are a duodenal switch, also known as a BPD or biliopancreatic diversion, which is a much more drastic version of a gastric bypass. And it has some components of a sleeve, so the stomach is made into a sleeve. And then we do something similar to what we do with a bypass, but it's a much longer bypass. So there's a much shorter segment of small intestine that is left to absorb nutrients. And it's an incredibly effective surgery for weight loss. It's an incredibly effective surgery for diabetes, but it also has more complications, both surgical in the short run and then nutritional in the long run. And while a lot of people can have a really nice life with it, with a duodenal switch after surgery, it's a surgery that requires a tremendous amount of compliance. Some people will estimate that the cost of the vitamins necessary to appropriately supplement yourself after the surgery runs between $100 to $200 a month. That in and of itself is a significant thing that you have to consider. And the impact on the way you respond to food in terms of going to the bathroom afterward and sensitivity to processed foods and loose bowel movements is much more dramatic than we see with either a gastric bypass or a sleeve. In general, gastric bypass and sleeve surgeries do not change your bowel habits unless you eat something that is kind of off the menu. With a duodenal switch, even a normal healthy diet, something like my Pound a Cure program, will result in substantial diarrhea and loose bowel movements. So I really don't make videos about the duodenal switch because I don't do this surgery. I'm not an expert in it. But I do certainly share your statement that this is a very different surgery from a gastric bypass, and something that does, I think there are a lot of people out there. I would really turn to your surgeon. If someone's doing a lot of these surgeries, then they're really, I think, obligated to put out some educational materials for them. So I would go back to your surgeon and make sure that you've received all the information that they put out there. Most likely they work with a dietitian, and I think that would be useful as well. But you're right. There isn't a lot of material out on the surgery because it's not that commonly performed, certainly compared to gastric bypass and sleeve gastrectomy.